The smartest families don't focus on the money. They actually focus on this thing. And if you do that, you'll be, you guessed it, one of the smartest families. And so in this video, I'm going to explain the gravity of family businesses, the mistake they make, and what the smartest families focus on. So let's get into it. What do I mean by the gravity of family businesses? In the world of global real estate, the Reichmans once stood as giants. They built not just a company, they built an empire, Olympia and York. And it was their firm that gave rise to iconic structures like First Canadian Place in Toronto and Canary Wharf in London. And their success felt inevitable until it wasn't. In the early 90s, Olympia and York faced a financial crisis from an overextended balance sheet, which eventually led to their bankruptcy. Their collapse was shocking, and it rocked the real estate world. Their most prized properties were taken away, and their once stellar reputation was ruined. The Reichmans were too big to fail until they weren't. Even the mightiest can falter, and that's the gravity that family businesses have to fight against. And this is where families make their biggest mistake. They know this is coming, but they invest in the wrong place. And they'll load up with lawyers, wealth advisors, and accountants. And I have nothing against lawyers, wealth advisors, and accountants. And they'll focus on the literal mountain of wealth in front of them. And here's the problem with focusing on the money over everything else. If that's true, you're not a family. You're just an investment club with the same last name. And so what happens to a family that's not really a family? Well, first, the family falls apart, and then so does the wealth. And so what is the one thing that the smartest families focus on? It's not the money, and it's not the right hedge fund, wealth advisor, or tax plan. Let's start with a name that people still know today, the Rockefellers. And there's a reason we still know them, and it's because they got this right. John D. Rockefeller, or Sr. as he was known, had huge ambition. His son, Jr., under Sr.'s watchful eye, learned financial skills and had a strict allowance. And while Sr. probably had a lot of opinions on how Jr. should live his life, he really importantly gave his son Jr. the space to figure out what he wanted to do with his life, what he wanted to focus on for his philanthropic efforts, what he wanted to do in his career, and how he wanted to raise his kids. He gave him the space to become his own person. And that's what the Rockefellers got right. This is what the smartest families do. They focus on their people, each member of their family, not their financial capital, their human capital. And through this, they actually realize that they're in the business of having every member of their family thrive. But you're probably wondering, how does this solve the gravity problem? And I would say, wow, that is really helpful that you're thinking the exact rhetorical question I need to get to my next point, which is you can't always win. Nobody does. You may have heard of this guy. His name is Warren Buffett. He's kind of the GOAT of investing. I wonder if anyone's ever called Warren Buffett the GOAT of investing. Anyway, back to Warren Buffett. He said, and I quote, "Our satisfactory results are the result of about a dozen really good decisions. That would be about one every 5 years." That means he's made some mediocre decisions and that he's made some bad ones. The GOAT of investing doesn't hit a home run every time. In fact, he doesn't. He actually only hits one every 5 years. And so your family won't win every time either. Not every decision is going to work out. And in light of this, what should families be trying to do? They must invest in their people. They need to invest and support their human capital to thrive. And in doing so, their family will on net make more positive financial decisions than negative ones in the long run. And if they do that, if your family does that, then the financial capital will take care of itself. And I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video, but there's a huge hidden benefit to families focusing on having every member thrive. We all know people with too much money and notoriety and how that's gone to their heads. Just look at Kanye, Wolf of Wall Street, the list goes on. I'm sure you get the idea. We know that too much wealth can be a toxic influence. When families adopt the thriving mentality, then the wealth stops becoming something families live for, and it's something that enables living. And that changes everything. And you may be wondering how to apply this to your family. Do you know each member of your family and what they're good at? what are their dreams? It's time to start having these conversations and retraining our focus from the financial capital to the human capital. And if you do that, your family will have an even brighter future than today. And if that feels daunting, reach out to me or other family enterprise advisors. This is a key area where we're helping families. And now that we've gone over what the smartest families do, there's an important issue that's looming for every family, and you need to know how to plan for it and get ahead of it. There are many golden rules that apply to all families, but this is one of them. And if you want to learn what that is, then you need to watch this video.